This is going to be part one of, I don't know how many. Uh, reason I had to break it up is because the game has had a lot of power creep, much like the series it's based on. So it's come a long way from color orbs go make monkeys do beam. So for this first video, I'm going to talk about an introductory approach to the game, just so that you won't overwhelm yourself with all the tasks you have to do. And I'll go over what to focus on, what to farm, and most importantly, team builds. So, hopping right into it, we have these rewards. You know, you have your gift box, you're at the home screen, you have gifts, news. This is for like updates on the game, what summons are going on, what events are going on, and then any like maintenance, things like that. And then here you got the gifts where you can get some free medals, as you see here, some Zenny, and a lot of the currency for the game, which we'll go over in a later tutorial. And then you also have missions, which when you're starting out, you're gonna have a ton of missions that you're able to do. So definitely use these missions to your advantage. But that's not what we're gonna focus on for today. Today, we're gonna focus on team builds. So let's look at the characters So the first thing we're gonna need to do is pick up some characters. So what you're gonna wanna do is head over to summons. Now, I believe you should have some dragon stones that they're going to give you. The problem with these dragon stone. So the problem with these dragon stone summons is that you can get these pretty powerful units, which is good, but what will end up happening is especially for the LRs, it's going to take a little bit of time, or not a little bit, a good amount of time, because look at how many medals they need. They need so many medals to awaken, and these are going to be coming from events that aren't necessarily challenging, but for someone that's starting out with little to no units, it can be a little bit challenging. What I highly recommend is, especially now if you're in these kind of times where you get the free tickets, definitely recommend doing some of these summons, as well as if you're joining during a tournament time, definitely recommend trying to get some of these tournament tickets, and it can help you farm a lot of good units. Now, this friend points, I mean, honestly, you're getting a decent free-to-play unit, like a dime a dozen, and by decent, I mean an SR that actually has a passive, because typically you're going to get units that have no passive. So, I mean, which is fine to clear some events, but yeah, I mean, if you need a team real quick just to get through an event, I'd recommend at least doing a multi and then just going into whatever. So let's just do a multi. I'll show you exactly what you would get, because I mean, this is typically what you get unless I get a screen crack. Yeah, so this is just about what you're looking at in terms of a summon on the friend points. Super Saiyan 2, that's it. Oh, 3, nice. So I might get a Hercule statue, and okay, so Chaozu, Killa, Yamcha, Cyberman, blah 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 blah. All right, and Hercule. So now, what you can do if you do need to get units a different way is let's take on one of these events, and I'll show you the team that I'm going to use to take on the event. And that way you can see kind of what the idea behind this is. Alright, so we're kind of going to rely on the friend here, so I will talk to y'all once we are done here. Alright, so that was a pretty easy clear, and you get 2 units out of this. So, you know, I mean, it is a lot of RNG, but at the end of the day, it's pretty easy to knock this out if you just hit a quick friend summon and then just rely on the teammate to take care of most of it. So, you've recruited some characters, now we can start building the team. So, teams are going to be built based on synergy. You can't really throw together strong units or random units together because they don't synergize. As you saw with that trial run that I did, a lot of those units weren't working too well together. So, how do you solve that? You want to start off with the leader skill. So, you have leader skills like this where it's all types, which can lead everybody, which is good. You have a pretty broad team. You can just put together a good amount of units that might not mesh, but can do pretty well together. So that's a bonus. But on the downside is you're only getting 59%, as opposed to these LRs who give 130% to certain categories. So, and that's moving on to the next leader skill aspect is you can lead categories. So let's take a look at this free-to-play cooler. He's leading Terrifying Conquerors, and he does color. So that's the last part, is they can also lead colors. So you have all types, colors, or categories. Now, once you break it up like this, that's when you can start kind of seeing what kind of team you want to build. So for example, let's say I picked that cooler, right? Well, I can only really use Terrifying Conquerors and Tech type, otherwise it's not going to make sense. So, Terrifying Conquerors. So I have a pretty good pool to pull from. Now, let's say you do those Ginyu events, you get all the Ginyus, and you pretty much have a full team. Or you do the Ginyus, you get Chilled. I think the Nappa's from that free-to-play event, he does grade 8, and he's pretty decent overall. And let's say the King Vegeta too. So this is a good way to build it. Now, if you want to do it where it's like this, and then maybe you want some tech types on there, well, now you can throw in Android 13, you can throw in the Gamma, and you can throw in, who else is pretty evil here? I don't know. I think he's on Terrifying Conquerors anyway, yeah. So you can throw these two in, these two androids, and they'll link pretty decently. So, because shocking speed, you know, whatever the case may be. And then boom, you have a team that fills in the gaps for all of this. So now, when it comes to the composition of the team, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can do it how I just did it, where you're just picking strong characters, which can work. But there's also a couple different types to do it. So you can either build it around a unit or a concept. So for example, building it around a unit would be something like this. We have this Gotenks and Ghost, and his passive, he's a nuker. So that means per key sphere obtained, he's gaining attack and defense, and he also heals for rainbow key spheres. So if we want him to lead or we want him on the team, we're going to go to skill effect and go to change key spheres on passive. So all these characters can change key spheres on their passive, but honestly the Goku would probably link the best because he has Super Saiyan and Prepare for Battle, so in Shattering the Limit I believe. So these two would work pretty good on the team. Now if you're building it around, you know, same thing with Tien, where on Tien's passive he needs Earthbred fighters. So we would pick some Earthbred fighters. Right, look at all these inbred.
What? What the?
Earthbred fighters. So you can just build it around this. So boom, 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 and now he has his full passive, which makes him a lot better because he gets additional attack and defense 50% and chance to perform a crit plus 7% per person on the team. Now, if you're building it around a concept, let's say you're going into a super hard event and you want to stun that enemy. So you can pick some stunners, and let's say for this you have AGL type, so Universe Survival Saga, and does she lead a... Okay, she doesn't. And then you have Int and Fizz. So honestly this would work best because he leads AGL and she's an AGL type. So then at that point, you just pick the rest of your AGLs. Now I think they also stun on Super, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So I mean, if you happen to get them, they're also pretty good to stun. This guy's good. You know, just pick whoever you need. And I think, doesn't he stun on Super? Some of them stun on Super as well, so you can go to this, go to Super Attack, stun. Yeah. So this free-to-play Whis is pretty good. I haven't awakened him, but he's pretty good. So if you were to kind of round out the team that way, then boom, you have a full AGL team. You got some good damage dealers like that Gohan and the Goku. And then you got your stunners, which are these four. So you should have a stunner on every rotation, so that way you can keep the enemy stunned. So realistically, that's how you build around a concept or a unit. The last part of synergy is linking. So the link system, the way it works is, let's take these two Gokus for example, right? Now, if we look at their link set, they have pretty similar links, all in the family, Z Fighters, let's see, legendary powers since they're both LRs. Now, if we go out here, they don't have any usable links. The reason being is because they're both named Goku. Now, if you have Goku base form, and let's say you have Goku Kaioken, now they're sharing links. Now they have all in the family, saying lineage, Z Fighters. Now, this isn't a huge part of team building, but when characters share key links, it does make it a lot easier, and it makes you a lot more flexible in terms of you needing orbs, because then you don't really need to grab a ton of orbs, and it makes it a lot easier for tougher fights where you want to be super constant. Now, typically the way you can kind of make it easier to identify links is if they share like a characteristic or a timeline. Typically they do share links. So for example, when I mean timeline, I mean like time period. So for example, if we're looking at Tournament of Power, right, or Universe Survival Saga, boom, Android 18 and UI Goku, both Universe Survival Saga. They have Tournament of Power, so they link in that regard. So not many other links besides that, but we look at this Gotenks, we look at Trunks, who's a Super Saiyan, and let's look at Goku, who's a Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan. 9 usable links. So Royal Lineage, that's like the Vegeta family link. Then All in the Family, that's the Goku family link. Golden Warrior, Super Saiyan, Saiyan Lineage. So you can kind of see where I'm getting at with this. Let's say we're looking at Frieza, or Cooler Frieza, Cooler, Frieza, Cooler. 9 usable links. So it's kind of the same concept here. And then same thing with like androids, same thing with humans for the most part. If they have similar characteristics, then they probably have similar links. So that's kind of how you want to build a team. So if I were to build a team based on, you know, what a typical free-to-play player would have just starting out, where is he at? Gotta put on quiet. So typically a lot of people will get, where is it? This Goku off rip. Now I would say honestly this is probably the better leader because he provides ki. So AGL Instant Fizz, so now we're limiting to these types. So if you're gonna build a team around this, you could pick, again, you got this Nappa is pretty good. You can get this Baseball Yamcha. I haven't awakened this guy, but he's also pretty good. That's from, I think he's from Pycon's event, I believe. He's pretty good. You get Chilled, and you can get this Vegeta. So let's sub Chilled out because I leveled up. You can do Ginyu. So you have a good amount of options, and I mean it's mostly in. But and even with these other characters, you have better leader skills. So like if you were to do int only, you'd probably just do the Ginyu and just look at int types and probably throw on that Shenron, Ice Shenron, or even the Gotenks and Ghosts. So, and boom, you got 5 links, which is pretty good. You got Z Fighters, Saiyan Warrior Race, Shattering the Limit, Transform, Saiyan Roar. So you got a good amount of links. Again, links aren't going to be tremendously difference making, but especially when they're key links, they can help a ton. That's pretty much it in terms of just getting started with the game and team building, how to build a team. I can go into more depth and talk about specific team builds, but I think that's just enough for now until part 2. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
Bye.